Hello, everybody. It's Friday night and it's time for PoliTarology. And I'm here with two of my favorite psychics, Shari from Voices from the Swamp and Cleo from Cleo the Seer. And we are ready to do some politic questions. So, how do we want to start out here? I'll just start off with one of mine. And then, Cleo, if you want to pick out a few questions from the chat, if we have any, and star them, then we can get to theirs too. And maybe we'll just go back and forth, one and one and one and one, if we have any. Okay.
Okay.
I have a lot today. Okay. So first thing we want to talk about is Kamala's speech. Now
we do, but mention that Mel is not here today.
Thank you. Yeah, Mel was potentially going to be with us tonight, but he is once again in the hospital, and so everybody say a prayer and send all your healing to Mel. Pretty good bet they're probably going to move up his surgery and just try to take care of his innards. That's what we hope for Mel. Okay, so Kamala's speech. So I read on Wednesday, was it Wednesday that she did it? Or Thursday?
Yeah, I think it was Thursday.
Okay.
Maybe it was Wednesday. I'm not sure.
Well, I remember at my reading Wednesday that, yeah, people were asking about where is it and what was going on with that. Yeah, I think it was Wednesday. And I remember reading on it and saying, yeah, it's going to be a game changer for her. It's going to be an eye opener. Everybody's going to kind of go, wow, you know what? She was right. So we gotta pay attention to this. So this is another nail in the coffin. It's another flag waving that will get people's attention and help some. I don't know how many MAGAs are going to be paying attention to her, but it will get more people to go, damn, we got to do something about this guy. So that's really, really good that she said that. And I think she'll be more visible from here on out. So why don't we just read on that real quick and see what we think about Kamala's. Is she going to continue to be a presence for us?
Well, I'm not doing cards, so
yeah, go ahead, spit it out, girl.
Do your thing, baby. Do your thing.
Kamala, I mean, when I saw that, I was just, so many times I'm seeing so much stuff on the internet, and then I've got to just move on. With Kamala, I was totally engrossed and engaged in everything she was saying. I was just enlightened to have her come on and talk to us, because she just, we've heard a bunch of things like, well, she's feeling down or something. No, this woman, and I've said it all along, she's not feeling down. She is ready to rock and roll here. She has got it all. She's got it just all going on. And she was just so, it was just so uplifting to hear from her and to listen to somebody who appears to be very, very presidential, so much more so.
Yes.
Than the real one. Or well,
it made sense.
Totally made sense. Totally was uplifting. Totally gave us hope. And I just think, okay, I think she's come on to let us know, hey, I'm still in this game. Don't you worry about it. And yeah, I'm feeling really good about it. I'm glad she did that. And I see where the Republicans and the loyalists to Trump are feeling so incredibly threatened by her. Oh my God, they couldn't wait to come out with their negative review of her. And they are scared to death.
What did they say?
Huh?
What did they say?
Oh, that thank God President Trump is our president, and God willing, and this kind of crap. And they're kind of playing to the evangelists and the Christians, and that this is some, again, that he is the, that he walks on water, that Trump walks on water. And it's a good thing that we have him here, because we can see that Kamala and Biden just totally destroyed the country. It's the same BS that we've heard forever. But, after she came on and they're just looking at her like, oh boy, you're just nothing and we are something. And surprise, surprise, people are not buying that. No, we're not buying that. Not just us, but I mean, Republicans aren't buying it because they know it's not true. It's the usual thing. And the guy that was talking the most about it was, I think his name's Stephen Miller. Is that his name?
Yep, Stephen Miller, the white supremacist.
Kind of looks
Yes.
like an alien.
Yes, that's him.
Yeah, he was just pumping up Trump. If you've noticed, there's been so many people, Marco Rubio, that Stephen guy, and there are a bunch of people that are just suddenly telling us more and more what a wonderful job Trump is doing. And thank God Trump stepped up and did this, because we've been taken advantage of by other countries. Yet nobody has said in what respect that really is. And then some other guy came on talking about how the economy is really on the upswing, when until just the last few days of the stock market doing better, it was not. It was below. And so he tried to rationalize this sliding down into how it really is going up. And I thought, this is mumbo jumbo. Nobody can figure out what the hell he was talking about. So anyway, that's what I got to say about Kamala right now.
Okay, what do you got,
drew
Shari?
some very interesting cards. First up was the Six of Pentacles. So we're looking at a lot of giving, a lot of generosity, sharing with those that are without, which is part of what her main campaign thing was protecting people and making sure that the working class finally get their shot again at everything. Then I drew the Star, because oh my, is she not the star, and is shining bright when she came out. When this popped up, I went, oh, I like this one. So followed by the Knight of Pentacles. She's been hard at work, crossing her T's, dotting her I's, getting all the things that she needs to do what needs to be done coming up. She's been hard at work, our hard-working young lady there. Then I pulled from the predictions deck, strategy planning. So yeah, she's been steadily working out the strategic end of all of this. They didn't run in half-cocked, I guess would be the best way to put it, thinking that we're just going to run and scream, it was stolen, it was stolen, it was stolen, just like Donald did last time around. Mm-hmm. They didn't do that. They gracefully said, okay, you won, and stepped back, and then they went to work because they knew it was stolen. And now they've got, from what I've read, there's been a team of forensic computer experts who have completely figured out how it was stolen, and they have actually been able to redo it on the same kind of machines to show how it worked. Mm-hmm. And then I started thinking, well, now when are we talking about? When is this going to start really happening? And I pulled January. So I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to wait till January. But then I thought, it's only about, 6 months away. So maybe we'll survive until January. But maybe January means another oath of office being taken.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That's what I got.
Okay. So I decided to use what is this called again? This is a hard deck to use, but it is really fun. The United States of Tarot. And the first card that I got was the Elizabeth Warren card, which is Strength. And she's wearing the banner that says, nevertheless, she persisted. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Kamala is persisting. But what is crossing her is her legacy. It's on its side. So it's not quite yet that she's able to come into her legacy, but she's working on it. And underneath it is the Nine of Pentacles. She is protected. She is comfortable. She's strong. And that's Jane Goodall holding one of her guerrillas. So in the past, she's been working in the background, the moon. She's been working in hiding. And what crowns her, I think of her as the Queen of Swords because she's a Libra, she's an air sign. But what crowns her in this deck is the Queen of Wands, which is Michelle Obama.
Love it.
Really, really good. So then she gets the Two of Cups. She's got some good cooperation, some good relationships in front of her. The other cards going up the side, basically, she knows that it's a rough road ahead. She knows that it's going to be kind of difficult and she has to work hard at it, but she's ready to persist. And her goal is to lock him up. Eight of Swords is to lock him up. So I think that she is back to claim her place, but I think, as she said, it's not about her. It is about this process of getting our country back, of getting our government back, of righting the ship, of putting things right, putting things back into place. She knows it's going to be a hard job, and I think she's up to the task. So that's what I think. So
Absolutely.
So there. Okay. Now,
I have to admit, when I saw her speak, the calm that came over me, it was like my whole being was just comforted and calmed. And it was like, oh, somebody I can understand when they speak because she makes sense.
Because when you're only seeing the Trump headlines and the Trump spokespeople and the craziness that's going on with them, it's like you're locked in a room in a house and you can't see who else is in the house. And it feels like you're either all alone or you're just surrounded by crazy people. And that's something that they purposely try to do. They purposely try to divide us and isolate us and make us feel like we don't have any chance of doing what we want to do. We just have to acquiesce and do what they want us to do. That's the whole authoritarian playbook in a nutshell. So it's really good that she came out and she mentioned all the other people who are doing a similar thing. Bernie and AOC, the guy from
Jasmine
Illinois,
Crockett,
Jasmine Crockett, Gavin Newsom,
Kaczynski, something like that.
Yeah.
No.
Illinois governor. That's who you're thinking of. Yeah. All these people who are going out and doing rallies and getting people fired up, but reminding people of who we are. And I have to say, now this may just be my personal YouTube feed, but I saw more than one, probably about 3 different shows today where they weren't tarot readers, where they were just coming out and saying, and we all know that this election was stolen. Now, they haven't been saying that much because they're towing the Democratic line. Let's be ladies and gentlemen and keep our white gloves on. But I think the gloves are off. I think that people now are just going to be saying, no, you mofo, you stole it and we want it back.
It reminds me of a meme that was very popular back when Donald was elected the first time around. And it was a meme that said something to the effect of, if you want to convince your children to get a good education, have them listen to an Obama speech and then make them sit through and listen to a Trump speech. And it was like, I feel the same way. It's like all the craziness you hear coming from one end, and then to see Kamala up there in 15 minutes run through all her talking points, say everything, and she was one and done, gone. And it was like, finally, somebody that I understand what's coming out of their mouth and is actually speaking of doing things to make all of our lives better.
Yeah, as she did in all 108 days of her campaign.
Yeah.
All right, let's move along here. So Trump's stock market is going up. Now, we all know why it's going up, because everybody is afraid that if they wait too long to try to buy anything, stock anything, it's going to be too expensive. So as they buy more things, the stock in those companies is going up. But will it continue? And then what? Will Trump just take away the tariffs, or what do we think is going to happen with this? That's what I read on.
Well, I think he's totally playing with the stock market. He's playing with the world economy. He did say in some interview that he was, not only the ruler of this country, but the ruler of the world. And so, yes, he is playing with the world economy. And so he's going to do everything he can to, it's a game for him at this point. And now he does feel like he's totally winning, which is what I heard today, is that he's saying, we're winning. No, you're not. What you've done is made it so that everybody in business in the United States that gets their goods from China are panicking, and probably from other places as well. So they're putting in huge, massive orders to try to cover their assets.
Mhm.
Well, because we don't know where, we've got 90 days or something. So they're running out and getting as much stuff as they can to try to keep their businesses open. So it looks like, oh boy, we're just doing great because people are buying things and people are shipping things in, and suddenly the ports where all this stuff is dropped off in those train-looking things, the shipping containers, are starting to fill up a little bit again because they are ordering a bunch of stuff to try to save their business. But I'll tell you, the business owners, and nobody is happy about this. And Trump saying stuff about, well, you just may not be able to buy as many toys for your kids. Well, why? Why should we not be able to buy as many? Why should we be going through this? This is just ridiculous. And it's only for his own gain. It's not just him, no. It's the other Republicans and it's the other people that are making money off of this. So what happens is the rich people go out and buy stocks, and their stocks go up, and then Trump comes out and says he'll either say time to sell or time to buy. It's insider trading. He's telling people what they can buy and sell so that they can make money. So that's what he'll do. And, they'll let him get away with it. And so the rich people, they sell all their stuff. The rest of the people that have stuff invested this way will lose money. And they already are losing money. So it's just a game, and right now he's got the stock market's all excited and happy and look how great this is doing. But nobody's talking about why is this going on like this? What changed? Well, nothing changed other than Trump's to put it off for 90 days, but he's still holding to this 145%, which everybody knows is ridiculous. It has got to come down, but we'll just see how he plays it over the next 90 days. He's going to play this thing over and over again.
Yeah. And you know what 90 days is? That's the beginning of August. That's about the time where we all think that he's not really going to be in power anymore. But that's another question. Shari, what do you have? Thank you, Cleo. That was great.
Starting with the world, right where Cleo started, the whole world is looking in on this and saying, somebody's messing with the markets again. And if we're not careful, we're going to lose our shirts, our pants, our shoes, and our underwear, all in the process of it. And then I pulled the Queen of Cups. I normally don't think of Kamala this way, but I have a feeling that her little speech, which delivered so much calm and peace to all of us, is also really rattled Donald. He seems more frenetic since she spoke the other day, and talking crazier than ever. And how does he remove the conversation of him sounding bat crap crazy as opposed to how she sounds? Make everybody make a little bit of money with the market. Let's finagle with that for a little bit. All the other things, Hegseth, the service that he uses, I can never remember the name of it.
Signal.
Signal, thank you. I knew it was an S. I just couldn't remember the word. All of this stuff kind of goes by the wayside because now everybody's making a little bit of money, so they're all excited. And then I got the Six of Wands. This is just what he wants. This gives him public attention, good attention, not the, oh my God, did you see that ABC interview he did? That man has lost his mind.
Mm-hmm.
When did he start jacking with the stock market? I think he began the day after that interview, and he started hearing the responses people had to it. And then our lovely Lotus came out and gave her very direct little talk, and he went into overblown ballistic CYA mode is the only way I can think to put it.
Mm-hmm.
When I asked when is this going to happen, I got next full moon. So that's what, in 2 weeks? Didn't we just have the moon?
Yeah, it's
So
2
next
weeks.
full moon, we should be seeing something happening with all of this stuff going on.
Oh,
Then
goodness.
when I went with my predictions deck, I got replace, exchange. So we're looking to replace and exchange him so the market can come down and be normal and everybody can be comfortable that they're going to make a little money, but they're not going to lose everything they own because some nitwit has a temper tantrum, is basically what it's coming down to. Every time he has a temper tantrum, the stock market crashes.
Julie Moon, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
So-
Julie. That's sweet of you to give.
So is that it, Shari?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I pulled some cards on this, and right off the bat, I get 3 major arcana. I got the moon. Yep, he's doing things. He's doing a little sleight of hand here to try to manipulate the markets, but it's crossed by the Wheel of Fortune. This is the deck I'm using, the Wheel of Fortune, which means that what goes up must come down. So it's going to go up and it's going to fall again. Bad. And the card that is at the base is Judgment. So I'm not so sure he's going to get away with this insider trading thing. I'm not so sure. I think that might be yet another article of impeachment. I can't remember what the articles of impeachment are. I guess I got to pull those up.
I think they've already included that.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
From the last go round.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that I read those before we get off the air. Okay. So I got a bunch of other cards. Bottom line is that it's going to be terrible for him. It is going to please his donors, please his oligarchs, please everybody, including Muskie, in the short term. But in the long term, it's going to be real bad. And they're all breaking the law. And every single one of those people, I mean, it may take them a while to catch up to Trump with this, but every single one of the other people who are going along with his nudge, nudge, wink, wink, time to sell, time to buy advice is going to be charged with it. They're all going to be charged with it. But because you had said, isn't he going to get away with it? Yeah, probably. No, I got the World, the 10 of Hearts, which is making him happy in the short term. And then I get the 5 of Hearts, which is the 5 of Cups, which is, disappointment, discouragement, grief, losing everything. So I don't think it's going to be very bueno for them. But yeah, he surely is going to, as soon as it's all the way up at the top, then he's going to pull it back down. All right. Okay. So what do we have next here?
Let me just put it. I did put this up earlier. There's 2 people that have.
Oh my gosh!
Donated. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Me and my cats. Thank you. Should buy a lot of cat toys. Okay. All right. So Trump is proposing big budget cuts, additional budget cuts to the ones that they've already put in whatever the stupid so-called budget is on the floor of the House, except for defense and the border. Now, for the border, they have just gone and appropriated 600 miles of land across the border from the coast of California, 600 miles in, and just said, this is ours now. And I thought the person who was talking about this said it was a 60-foot wide swath of land, but it's probably 60 miles, right? That it couldn't be just 60 feet. That's too, and they just took it. They just appropriated the land, eminent domain. It's the government's now, so we have it. And they're putting the military on it. So that's the defense, or that's the border part of it. But for the defense part of it, they're cutting all sorts of things, except they want to stimulate the space program to put an astronaut on the moon and on Mars. And this is going to make Elon very happy because it's going to involve SpaceX. So lots of money for those two things. So that's Elon making a ton of money. So I just wanted to mention that. Now, another thing about money has to do with crypto. So the Trump family apparently has invested heavily in crypto, and Donald has made a fortune since, I don't know if it's since the election or since last summer, but he has made a goddamn fortune. And I think him being very flush is the reason that he's been so bold as to say bye-bye to Elon. I don't need you. Please get out of my face and stop your booger boy from putting his boogers on my desk. And he's also kind of flouting Putin. He's not being the traditional Putin does everything right, you know, especially with this thing with the war in Ukraine. He has intimated a couple of times that, oh, I think, Putin doesn't really want to end this war, and I want to end this war. I mean, he does go back and forth with that, so he's still a little afraid of Putin, but I think that money in his pocket is making him feel like he doesn't need these guys. So my question is, where did his money come from to buy the crypto? Didn't come from sneakers and guitars, I'll tell you that.
Are you sure?
Well, I don't think he made enough on the sneakers and guitars to buy really anything. I mean,
Okay.
he had the NFTs. He could have made some money on the NFTs because they were highly overpriced. And he could have made a little money off the guitars and the sneakers, and the Bibles. Let's not forget the Bibles. But, I mean, did the money come from us?
Well, let's think about this for a minute. He just wiped out a whole bunch of, there should be a whole bunch of money being saved because they got rid of so many federal employees.
They went to Fort Knox. Don't forget that.
And they've downsized all over the place. So I'm thinking they should have a bunch of money. I just read recently, not only did they not, I'm talking about the government in general.
Yeah.
Not only did they not have money, that they put out more money than ever before. And I'm thinking, oh, really? Why would that happen? That's like craziness.
Wait, say that again. Wait, I'm missing this.
There's somebody was saying that they have put out more money.
Who? The government?
The government. Yes, but although we kept hearing about all this money, because
being saved.
When you've gotten rid of thousands of employees, you're not paying that out. When you're not sending money to the initial thing, what was that called?
AID?
Yeah, okay, you're not sending money there. You're not sending money to the states anymore
right, no FEMA. No FEMA.
Yeah, all these things that they supposedly save money on, but they said, no, they're actually spending more money than ever before. I'm like, really? Well, who is and where is it being spent? Is it going in Donald Trump's bank account? Is that where it's going?
Yeah, I think it, and
everybody else, whoever else he's greasing palms with, can they account for all that money? And I just saw before I came on today, I didn't have a chance to read the article, but that they're asking the Supreme Court to allow Musk, who I thought we were done with for now, to bring Musk back in to go ahead and rummage around through the Social Security. So, yeah, no, I mean,
Oh, they've been dying to get their hands on the money in Social Security for decades.
Well,
It
I
just
know, but I mean,
burns their
right
butt. They can't
now,
get their hands on it.
right now they should, in theory, a bunch of money should be just sitting there that used to go out, can now be sitting there as in a pool of money, you know. But they're
And
saying
I get yes that they definitely funneled some money directly into a bank account for Trump, and he definitely used that money to buy crypto. Then he turned around and sold the crypto, made more money, bought more crypto, and that's how he made a shit ton of money all of a sudden. And I do think it emboldens him to not feel as beholden to Elon and yeah. Yeah. Yeah, right. He's just making millions and millions over millions. So, yeah. Yeah. Now, the millions going to El Salvador is definitely coming from the US government. That's not going to Trump. That's just coming from our government, definitely to Mr. Bukele, the coolest dictator on the planet. But and this thing for Elon, the defense spending contracts, he's going to make gazillions on that. So he's paid off. I don't know how Putin's getting paid off. And monies for Trump's golf weekends came from FEMA fund. Ah, okay. Well, that makes sense because him trying to get in and out of a golf cart is really an emergency. So, oh wait, a federal emergency.
Hilarious.
A federal emergency.
which is hilarious.
Yes. So yeah, I mean that's what I get. I just thought about it for a little while, and that's what I get. This definitely just hold a funnel from the U.S. government in, just funnel it into his bank account. Yeah, $2 billion deal with crypto with Dubai. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, and he's going to be called on the carpet for all of this. This is all going to be coming out. I don't know if we'll get all the money back, but we will get a shit ton of money back.
Well, and he's going to have to explain how did government money get transferred to something that more personal, to either his account or somebody else's account close to him or a friend. You know, I mean, he's going to have to answer for that. But I think he thinks that I think he's got it. He thinks he's got it in spades. He's not worried about any of this stuff. And like you said, he's been making a whole lot of money on this crypto thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, he's sitting on a pile of gold. And so he just feels untouchable right now.
I don't think he's a billionaire. I don't think he's ever, I don't think he's is he a billionaire yet?
Yeah, they've said in the past that he was,
but low numbers, not huge numbers.
Not huge.
Yeah,
numbers.
like 1 or 2 billion, not like
60
billion. Yeah.
60 billion or something.
Right,
yeah.
right.
And Elon is a way up there billionaire. So yeah, so he's definitely using government money, which really pisses me off because I couldn't even get a tax refund this year. Isn't eminent domain has to be financial market value paid per the Supreme Court ruling? Well, apparently that doesn't matter to our government. They just claim the land. They just claim it. They don't really go by the rules. And
the thing they were accusing Obama of doing back when he was
right.
president.
But here's the thing. If they are making a bit of coin on the side by selling government funds into crypto, then turning them over again to make more money, then the amount of money that they had to pay for that land for eminent domain, maybe they did pay people or will pay people. This just happened. We don't know the details. This just happened. Or we think it just happened. They just announced it. So, maybe. And then, or like Trump, he never pays his workers, right? So maybe he's just waiting for everybody along the border to sue him for the money, to sue the government for the money. And that'll take 10 years. So it's ridiculous. All right, let's move on. So, okay. So the jobs market came in and it was not too bad. It was about the same as as the month before, about 177,000 jobs. But people are not excited about that because thousands and thousands of, maybe hundreds of thousands of people have been laid off from the government. So that's got to counterbalance it quite a bit. Let's see. Now, the House budget bill says it should preserve Medicaid's so-called original purpose, according to one representative. Do we think that's going to pass? And do we think that Medicaid will stay preserved, or what? Or can we just get rid of Moses Mike? I mean, that's what I really want to do. Jeez,
Don't we wish? You forget where he's from. We've been dealing with him for a while.
Yep. And there's 482 people in the room on the chat, and I hope there's a bunch more people watching. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Be sure you hit that like button.
And be sure that you're subscribed to the channel. And in my description, I should have the URLs for Cleo's channel and Shari's channel. So you should go and subscribe to their channels as well.
Please.
Yeah, it's free to subscribe, people. I mean, we're always asking for these subscriptions. It's free for you, but it means a hell of a lot to us. It really means a lot to us. It really makes a huge difference. I just noticed just this week that my own channel started coming up in my feed as a suggested video. Yay.
Mine's done that a couple of times. I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Well, that only happens when you really get a lot of views and when you've hit, like when you've done a bump up in subscribership and stuff. That's how that makes the algorithm say, oh, let's suggest it out there. Because, we do this all for free, but we're not making millions off of doing this at all. I mean, we might get 50 cents a month off this, so really helps. Really helps.
I just want to put this up real quick. I know we're going to change.
What was the question we were pulling on?
The budget bill, will it pass with Medicaid intact? Okay, don't forget the 90 million plus potential cost for the Army birthday parade. Oh yeah, of course. How could we forget that? And then watch, he'll turn around and sell tickets to it or something.
Just ridiculous.
That's the only way he'll get anybody there.
Yeah, he'll have seats that you have to pay $50,000 for, and then you'll get a photo op with him or Pet Hegseth or somebody. Will that Army's 250th anniversary be held on T-Rum's birthday? No. It'll be held on. Oh wait, no, you're right. Yes, it will be. Yeah. Will it happen? Well, yeah, because it's going to be the parade for Trump, not the birthday party that was supposed to be. He has no regard for our history, for our Constitution, for previous presidents and the past behavior that they all adhered to. He has no regard for anybody else but himself. Okay. So, Cleo, what do you think about the budget?
Well, when it comes to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, if he fools around too much with that, he's gonna have a big problem. So I'm kind of thinking that they're probably going to keep it, but then they're going to place even bigger restrictions on it to where the poor people already, it's a big hassle to get this kind of stuff. They're constantly sending out notices and checking and see if you're still eligible and stuff. So they'll probably get into that and try to find a bunch of people who were on it that weren't eligible, which is not true. I mean, you can't believe the hoops you got to go through to get this kind of stuff. Unless you're already on death's doorstep or stuck in a hospital for months or something, then they'll come in and help you. But the way that they handle it through this administration is to just assume that everybody's trying to cheat the system. So yes, they will go in just like they've done with Social Security, trying to find people that actually shouldn't be on it, which is BS. I mean, every story I've heard about,
man, crap out of luck.
Yeah, but every story I've heard about this, they've either gotten attorneys or they've come up with stuff that said, no, this was right. This person was on Social Security, should be on Social Security, is eligible for Social Security. But do I think they're going to make it a hassle? Yes. Do I think they're going to absolutely remove it? No, I do not.
Okay. So I'll just go really quick, Shari, because it's very fast. So they'll have a few surprising little cuts, and then the whole thing's going to blow up in their face because they are going to try to add things, and at the last minute they'll try to take something out, and the whole thing is just going to be screwed. So I don't know what they will do about Medicaid. I'm going to say that might be the one popsicle stick that's still standing of the house when they get done, because everything else is going to be destroyed in it. Go ahead.
Started out with strength.
Mm-hmm.
They feel real empowered right now that they're going to be able to pull this off. And so they're banking on their strength, that they're going to be able to browbeat everybody else into cutting all of these vital programs to the American people. What they don't realize is the Seven of Wands. They are in for one hell of a fight.
Mm-hmm.
People are not going to put up with it. You're not going to mess with their Medicare, their Medicaid, their Social Security. You think people are protesting now? You start screwing with people's money and their health care, what little bit they do get, and you're going to have a rip-roaring old-fashioned fist fight on your hands. And then I got the Magician. I see this as the Democrats. They're like, okay, they're in chaos. They're in turmoil. They're doing all this crap we know damn well nobody wants to have done. So now it's up to them. Are they going to step forward with all of the tools that are at their hands to deal with this and deal with it? And then when I asked what kind of timing are we looking at, I got, you have the power to create the timing by taking action. So this is Spirit throwing it right back in their face, saying, you want change? Get up off your ass and do something and change it. And then I pulled mainstream news. We have got to figure out how to get control of the press again to start telling the truth. I don't know how we go about doing that, and I realize it'll probably depend upon us getting back control of the House, the Senate, and the White House. But things have to be done to take control of the press, that they can't just print or speak about whatever gobbledygook they decide to throw out. And, oh, well, it was on the New York Times, so it must be true. Not necessarily, or the Washington Post or whoever. I mean, most of these organizations are now owned by these extremist right-wing billionaires.
Right. And that's what has to stop, allowing them to own
Yeah.
things. I think the way it used to be is that there was government subsidies or something for most news organizations.
The news,
and
the news was considered
independent. It's the fourth estate. It's supposed to practice, free of fear and favor and independent of any political leanings, and just say straight what it is. And something in the early 70s, probably with Reagan, that was probably one of Reagan's things, I don't know, but somebody will correct me in the chat. They just did away with that and said, oh no, you can just, have somebody else run it, or it can be privately owned or whatever. And that started the whole thing.
Well,
that
it was
allowed
several things that happened all at once. One, they got rid of, and this was Clinton who did this.
Okay.
Rid of the rule that you could only own, I think it was 2 or 3 news media, radio, TV, print, within a certain parameter, like within 2 or 3 states, or within, so many hundreds of miles.
Okay.
You couldn't go in and buy up every damn news station and radio station and newspaper in town. And that's what you've got now. You've got these big corporations that are buying everything up. Granted, you can put your radio on, 99.9 and drive across the country, and you're going to hear the same music and the same talkers all the way across the country, because they're all owned by the same corporation and they all play the same thing. You might get local DJs interspersed with that, but they're all going to be towing the company line. There is no more independent WKRP in Cincinnati type radio stations.
Mm-hmm.
They don't exist anymore. Then you had, once that law got taken down, you had Nixon and Reagan both started working on the fact that they no longer had to keep news a separate entity from their TV stations. Like it used to be considered that when a TV station had their 5 o'clock news or 10 o'clock news, that was free airtime that the company that ran that station, that was their donation to society to provide the news. They could not monetize it.
Right.
They could not monetize it.
Right.
And when they took it away, and that happened when Ted Turner started CNN.
Yes, I was thinking of Ted
And
Turner.
suddenly CNN was on 24/7. People were freaking out. I can watch the news whenever I want. But to pay for it, they had to monetize it. And to monetize it, they had to go in and change the laws around it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really Ted Turner's fault. I mean, he had a good idea of what he was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the fact that they still didn't keep them within the parameters of, if you're going to do opinion shows, that's fine, but you have to put them out that this is an opinion show. This is not a news show.
Right.
You have to keep the news and opinion separate, just like on newspapers used to be. You had the hard-hitting news on the first 2 or 3 pages, and then you had the opinion and editorials on the next few pages.
Right.
They were on the same paper, but they were very clearly defined which was which. And that's where a lot of our problems came, is they started melding them together, and suddenly you have Fox News, who doesn't give you the news. They're giving you their opinion or what they've been bought and paid for to say.
Right.
And in order to compete with that, all the other stations and channels and whatnot had to kind of adapt the same modality to keep from being shut down. One of the things that Murdoch did that was so damn smart, and I don't know why people didn't see the red flags going up when he did it, was when he first put out Fox News and everything, he put it out so that that channel was in every cable subscription at no charge.
Right.
Automatically.
I remember that.
No matter what, you got Fox News. And that's why when you went to the doctor's office, you got Fox News. When you were at the dentist's office, you had Fox News. I mean, because it didn't cost them anything. They didn't charge. He took a big hit in his money. He lost a lot of money the first 7 or 8 years, I think they said. And then it flipped. And the money just started going up and up and up, because everybody else had to change their programming in order to not be completely knocked off the playing board, in order to stay in the game. And that's where, like when the government stepped in and said, Ma Bell, you can't have all the telephone.
They broke up the monopoly. Yeah, they broke up the monopoly.
They didn't do that. It used to be that way with news. And then they did away with those rules and said, oh, well, y'all are adults. You know how to play by the rules. Please.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for that rundown on all of those. No, that was great. I'm glad you knew all those things. That's great, because I had an inkling of what had happened, that it had been laws that had been abandoned or turned over, and then it just went hog wild with Fox News, because they really opened the door to that. So thank you.
Yeah, really,
great.
That was great.
You're welcome. And I'm sure there's some of it I may have mixed together.
Oh,
that
it's okay,
isn't
Shari.
exactly accurate, but
you're amongst friends. It's fine. You got the gist. It's great. It's great. So let's look at.
I'm pretty and proud. I just wanted to lift this up. This is really, really important. And what is going on here? That Stephen Miller wants to just sued the courts and Chief Justice John Roberts,
the
White House control. This is really, really scary that this is even happening. It's even being hinted, and now they're actually taking action on something like this. This is horrible, because if you remove the court, you have a dictator for sure.
Well, here's the question to ask: in what court, in what venue are they bringing this case? To the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court's not going to rule against themselves.
Well, that's what he's doing. He's suing the Supreme Court.
But you can't take a case directly to the Supreme Court. You can sue them, but you have to sue them in a particular venue.
You have to start at the bottom of the ladder and work your way up.
Where did he bring that suit?
Probably in Texas.
That just shows you the level of where they're going with this. They don't give a damn what the rules are, and they never have.
Yeah, but the case won't be heard. Let me see.
It won't be heard.
Any judge with half a grain of oomph in their system will say, yeah, no. And I know they were a bunch of people got all upset because of something that's coming up. And Amy Coney Barrett recused herself and said, no, I can't sit in on this one because it's cuts too close to home or whatever. And I mean, they all went ballistic about it. I heard bitching about it all day yesterday from one side and people saying, well, damn, what got into her? She's actually doing the right thing on the other side. So
I'm trying to see where they filed it. Because you see, you can't file to the Supreme Court. That's not the way it works.
You only get there by appeal.
By appeal, but also then it's not a guarantee that the Supreme Court will take the case. The case has to turn on something basically in the Constitution. That's what they go for, or an amendment. So they're saying here that it is it's a group that he founded, a legal group founded by White House aide Stephen Miller, sued Chief Justice John Roberts, and I'm reading from Democracy Docket, in a brazen but unlikely attempt to seize control of the federal court system. Okay, America First Legal, that's him, argued that the Judicial Conference of the U.S. and the Administrative Office of the U.S. Courts, two key judicial branch bodies that frame policy and handle the basic functions of the federal court, are executive branch agencies. Such agencies must be overseen by the president, not the courts. This is, I threw cards on this. This is going nowhere fast in a handbag. I mean, there is no, it's going to get thrown out. This is not a valid case. It's just not. And, Stephen Miller has been, I don't know, sniffing his own, you know what, because he's not a lawyer, and he really thinks that everything that comes out of his mouth is a valid something or other, a valid policy or whatever, and it's just not. They're dreaming.
And
there's money
here agreeing with you here.
Yeah, there's a lot of money tied up in this, but it's not going to go anywhere. The lawyers, I mean, whatever court it goes to, they may file it somewhere like Texas, where they have a bunch of, that's what we're reading on, suing John Roberts. But John Roberts is a figurehead, right? So he can't sue John Roberts personally for this matter. He can't say that I'm suing John Roberts because I want the executive branch to control the courts. No, that's really a constitutional issue, right? So he would have to sue themselves, the government, in order for that. But it's not going to happen. There's too much law all over this, and it'll be dispatched very quickly. That's what I have to say. They'll have to be slammed down, and then they'll come back with a maybe somewhat stronger case on some other issue, but this is not going to go anywhere. And POTUS finally take away presidential immunity. Can I just answer this one? Because I have read on this before.
Okay.
It's not possible for someone to bring a case and just say, can you just overturn presidential immunity? What has to happen is there has to be a case in the lower courts that hinges on the immunity. So it has to at least go into a federal district court of some kind. And then that decision has to be appealed up to the higher courts until it reaches the Supreme Court. And it has to hinge the case itself, not the direct issue of immunity. You can't just bring a case on that. It has to hinge on a particular case. So, and I think because the whole way that they had that case going in the first place was all these hypotheticals, it's going to be a little tricky to find a case that really hits that note, hits that tone. But I think they might. And I think they will overturn it. If they have half a chance, they will overturn it, because the court is really, it was really split, but now it's really leaning much more to the left than it was. And Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett are the swing votes that are helping it lean towards the left. So I do think that sometime in the next few months, it might be this summer, I don't know, some case will come to that, but it's not a matter of SCOTUS just saying, oh, we're going to overturn this. They don't just make decisions based on how they feel in the moment or the political temperament or the environment. That has to have to do with a case that hinges on that particular issue.
Yeah.
So that's
Can I real quick? I drew a couple of cards on this just to see what would come up.
Okay.
First thing I got was downgraded.
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking to try to downgrade the Supreme Court because they're pissed at the Supreme Court for not just licking his butt. And then I got cyclone damage. They're creating even more chaos, getting everything whirling around like a tornado, so that everybody's confused and nobody knows what the hell is going on.
Yep.
And then I got consequence, damage done. And that's their goal. They want the consequence to be the damage that they've done, and to hell with everybody else.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
Well, the immunity thing will change, but I don't know that it's going to change when as long as Trump's still in being the president, pretending to be the president.
Okay.
That's just,
well, and Roberts is,
the courts have, they have been looking at each other going, uh-oh, we made a boo-boo. We made a big mistake. Who knew that this lunatic was going to take that one thing? And I'm thinking, you guys knew that he would do this. You knew he would take it to the fullest extent. He was pushing for a couple of years, working up to it, of saying, he kept saying, hey, a president has to have immunity, and then bringing up, rationalizing why that is so. And so the court just decided, especially Roberts, let's go. Yeah, that sounds right. Let them go ahead and do that. And then after they did it, they're like, uh-oh, too late. Can't turn back.
Can I tell you why I'm not worried about this? I am not worried about this because you may have recalled a little item in the news a few weeks ago that said that Charles Koch and Harlan Crow, ding, 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 ding. Does that name ring a bell? Thomas's sugar daddy, Harlan Crow, the guy with the Nazi memorabilia, him and Charles Koch of the Koch brothers, one is dead now, brought a lawsuit against Trump.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yes, I can't recall. If you Google it, find out what the lawsuit is about. But they brought a case against Trump. So I'm thinking that, and I think it's something about the tariffs or something. I don't know. It's something about money. It involves money. So I'm thinking that Harlan Crow and Charles Koch are going to have a little word in the ear of all of their SCOTUS babies and say, you stop that. You stop that right now. You stop this man. Do not give him immunity. Do not give him anything else that he wants. Slam him down. Slam that door shut, because they don't want it.
Yeah.
And they call the tune with SCOTUS. So I'm not worried about it, because these guys don't want to lose more money.
SCOTUS can reverse their own decisions. I
But
saw
what is the
Glenn
impetus for
Kirshner
that?
talk about this, that they can pull a case that they gave a decision on,
Mhm.
and they can come back at a later date with either additional information has come to light,
Right, they have to
or
have something new
something like,
about
they
it.
have to have a reason to do it,
Yes, they
and they
do.
can pull it out.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to go through the court system and work their way up.
No, no,
They
no.
can do it
But see,
directly
that's the
themselves,
same, and that's the same
but
thing
it
as
has to
having
be
a
built on
case.
something.
So it would have
Right.
to be something new about a case to bring that back in front of them. So yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. That's true. I hadn't thought of that, but that's true. But so, with Mr. Crow and Mr. Coke, um, I'm telling you, they're whispering in their, especially Thomas's ear, Alito.
Oh yeah.
Those guys those guys are tied up in knots with their sugar daddies. So they're saying, honey, you're not going to let that happen. So I'm not worried about that. I don't think SCOTUS is going to give it up. But I do see that SCOTUS isn't the only thing that's going to help us. I mean, we still need big time protests. We still need big time overthrow of this particular regime. We really need that. So what's all the ding dongs? Is that me?
That's my phone.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right.
I've got it plugged in because it was dead and I couldn't move it further away, and evidently it's come back to life enough now that everything's catching
Don't
up
you
on
hate
it and
that?
dinging.
Oh, God, technology. So I have a couple of things I want to get to before we end.
Okay.
Just quickly, Jazzy Sophie says, I'm worried. I'm seeing too much not to worry. Trump is moving fast and hard. He has them all busy with lawsuits, and he will keep on keeping on. This person is talking about what a lot of people are concerned about, what a lot of people are thinking. So I just wanted to bring this up so that we can cover it real quick, because there is reason to be worried. And the intensity of why he's doing what he's doing is a typical Trump MO. I'm doing this over here. I'm doing something entirely different over here so that you can't pay attention to what I'm doing. And I just get it all jumbled up in a mess. Just don't let it worry you so much, because he cannot possibly do all he's trying to do all at once. And what he's actually doing is just digging himself deeper and deeper into illegal activity, into treasonous activity. And this is exactly what we want to see, because this is what will bring him down in the end. But I'm telling you, Jazzy, you're not the only one. There is millions of people feeling exactly the same way. And it's understandable, but it's, we just have to let it roll. We've talked about this before. It's just got to get better before it gets, it's just got to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, this is what has to happen. It has to happen this way, that we have to have people, instead of getting worried, get active, get motivated. If you can't protest, then help somebody who can protest. If you can do the 5 calls, do the 5 calls. If you can support a Democratic person in office in your locale, support them. Go to the town halls and support them if you can. But do what you can to support this democratic movement of protesting and resisting this ridiculous authoritarian regime. Do whatever you can. This is what I'm doing. This is part of what I'm doing. This and the meditations. This is my protest and my way of pushing back. But if everybody pushes back in the way that they can, it will happen. The rest of the people who need to see what he really is all about are more the Republican and MAGA people. They need to acknowledge that he is really screwing them over and they need to get good and angry themselves, and then they'll actually start protesting too. Once we get enough people, and it doesn't take the whole country, it doesn't even take really 25% of the country. It takes like less than 5% of people to actually say, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. And that is all it takes for a tipping point to happen where we do have the power to change things in our government.
James Carville was talking about this day before yesterday, about people protesting. And he was like, it's a good thing. It's a great thing. And I'm glad to see it. And yeah, we're getting big numbers here and big numbers here. He says, but it's not until we can get to a certain level of people that all show up at once and all coordinate together. It's like you get a couple of million with this one and a couple of million with that one, but they're different topics that they're protesting on. And he's like, we've got to be able to get everybody under the same umbrella and let 10 or 15 million people step out and say, no, we've had enough. He said that would be numbers too large for anybody to ignore.
And did you see the protests for May Day? Everywhere in the world against this regime, plus Tokyo and Paris. Huge numbers protesting. Huge. And most people that were working in those areas are just looking around like, what the hell is this? When did this all get formed? Well, you make people mad enough, they can act pretty damn fast. And it's going to keep going. We're going to keep seeing people protesting and doing these things.
Well, and just like Josie here, I mean, you know, she's emailing the Supreme Court every day. She's doing what she can do from her, you know, where she's at.
Good for you, Josie.
Definitely.
I wish I could do a super chat back to you.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. All right. So, I think we should talk about Pete Hegseth and Mike Waltz. That's what I want to talk about.
Okay.
So Mike Waltz, now officially dropped as the U.S. National Security Advisor, but possibly will be the next UN ambassador. I don't think so. I really don't think so. They gave him the National Security Advisor position mainly because he was a good guy. He was a Trump guy, but they didn't think he'd pass Congress confirmation or Senate confirmation. So that position doesn't require Senate confirmation, but UN ambassador does. So I don't know. Maybe they bought everybody off, and that's how he's going to get it. But let's see. Is he gonna pass the Senate confirmation for the UN ambassador?
Well, I don't know why. You know, why are they pinpointing him and not pinpointing the idiot that has not only done?
Well, that's another question. We'll do that one next. That's another question. That's another question. Let's just see if he's going to stay with us as the UN ambassador.
Probably depends on how much alcohol they're willing to give him.
Well, he's not the alcoholic. It's Hegseth.
Oh, it's Hegseth. I thought that's who you were talking about.
No.
Okay. Talking about the other guy.
Waltz is they're putting him up as the UN ambassador, but he has to be confirmed by the Senate to get it.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, I think he just.
Sorry, I dropped my cards and had 52 card pickup real quick, and I was like, I heard Hegseth, and then I heard something else, and I was like, I don't.
He's not going to get it. He's not going to get it.
You say no. I say, you know, I mean,
he's not going to get it.
How important is that position?
The UN ambassador? Yeah. He represents us on the world stage. It's a pretty big deal. He has to have quite a bit of. They have to have quite a bit of security clearance to be a part of it. You know, it's a big.
I thought that it was more of a symbolic thing of just
no.
One thing, but he's actually a good guy, so now we're putting him into another.
No, but see, if he's at the UN, then he can side with Russia on all their votes. Right?
Well, then in that case, he may well get it.
Except that the Senate Republicans are not so MAGA, right? Are they? I mean, Johnson is.
When will this take place? Soon?
I don't know. Yeah,
because he's only allowed so many days with fill-ins before they have to be confirmed, and then otherwise they're out.
Yep.
They lock themselves out of the deal.
I've already said no, he's not going to get it, so I'll Google it.
I think he's going to get it.
What's
If
his
for
name
no
again?
other reason, just because it'll be another thing that will irritate us about about the Republicans and the people. I mean, if Kennedy can be the head of the health department, I think anybody can be this.
Yeah, you got a point there. You got a
You know,
point. Oh God, the stupid
It'll
Washington
just depend on how good he is at brown nosing DJT's backside,
He's
and
really good at it. He's really good at
how
it.
much money he's willing to pay for it, or have
Oh,
someone
oh,
else
you
with
think
money willing
Waltz
to
is
pay
going to
for
have
it.
to pay for it?
And what's his name again?
Mike Waltz.
Mike Waltz. Okay. You want me to go? I've got my cards.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. King of Pentacles reversed. His first reversal I've thrown tonight. Greed, indulgence, material loss, stubborn, obsessed with wealth and status, financially inept. I don't know about Waltz, but that sure does describe the orange turd that's in office. Then I pulled the Magician, reversed. Manipulation, poor planning, untapped talents, insecure, lack of confidence, narcissism. I'm looking at just the first two cards alone and thinking, yeah, he's not going to get very far. Text opt out of receiving secret plans.
Yeah, he gets
But
the
then I
towel.
got the Knight of Cups.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to try to be a little creative with this to try to make it work. Don't know if that's going to happen or not. My timing card said timing is much farther in the future. So I don't know, a week, a month, a couple of weeks, couple of months. But then I got with my predictions, urgent, act now. So whatever they're doing, they're going to try to push it and push it fast to get it through. Because they think that they're going to be able to do that. And I just because of these first two cards, I really feel like, yeah, no, that ain't going to happen. Y'all think you're slick, but you're not.
Yeah, I don't think so. And so do we know how many Scaramucci's Mike Waltz lasted in the administration? I did the math, so I already know. So if you guys want to guess.
I just want to
Three.
I want to thank Rose Blue for the donation, and I'll also appreciate
thank you.
that she left.
Yes, that's very good. No, Waltz lasted 9.18 Scaramucci's in his post. So he did pretty good. He did pretty good for a big boy who is wearing big boy pants now. That's good. Okay, so now it was just a few days ago that we were reading in the news that they were looking for a replacement for Pete Hegseth. So this week I was a little surprised that it wasn't Hegseth being replaced. But then when I started thinking about the congressional confirmation, I realized, they're going to have a tough time getting somebody else through a confirmation for that spot who's such a kiss ass, as Hegseth. So maybe that's why they took Waltz instead of Hegseth, because Waltz hadn't been Senate confirmed. And so they're going to try him out in a different playing field, the UN ambassadorship. After the Signalgate thing came out in the news, my prediction was that, Hegseth, it would be kind of common knowledge that he was really the guy who did it, but that probably Waltz would take the fall for it. And that has come true. But Hegseth, I think, is also going to be pushed out. I just think there's too much dirt under his fingernails. I just don't think he can last. So can we read on that? Do we think that because they said they were looking for a goddamn replacement. How much more confirmation do you want that he's going to lose his job? And how soon?
You know, it's crazy that they were so hell bent on putting this guy in there when he's just not qualified. Of course, I mean, all of them have kind of been not qualified, but you know, when he makes these kind of mistakes where he's texting stuff to his wife that's supposed to be within it, that what in the world?
Well, he's a bad drinker. He's a bad alcoholic.
Well, and so I think that the reason Trump keeps him in there is because he's just so easy to manipulate. And then when he does stupid things, Trump just looks around like, oh, okay, yeah, he did something. Not taking into consideration the seriousness of all the people that he puts in harm's way by doing these crazy things of texting information to people that are not supposed to be a part of it. So, you know, why he ever got in and why he's still in just amazes me. That's why I was kind of surprised when they picked on Waltz to go ahead and, you know, that they're going to take him out and then ceremoniously put him into another position. We'll see. But yeah, you know, it should have been, because what Headset or whatever his name is, what he did was much worse in the end. I mean, the first go around was one thing, but then the second time, I'm like, what are you doing? These people are so inept. What person in the Army or the Marines, if they got a hold of some information and spewed it out to their relatives, would they stay in the service? No. No, they would not. And they most likely would end up in the brigade or the jail or whatever they do as service people. But, you know, this is just craziness. No, absolute craziness.
I work at a university. If I was to give a student's information out to their parent, I could be fired and charged.
Yeah.
Because they're adults. We go through this fight weekly with parents or grandparents calling, well, I'm paying for their education. Well, you'll have to talk to them if you want to know what kind of grades they're making. I can't give you that information. You're not that student. Try to make them understand that. 30 plus years in the medical field, I lived by HIPAA laws. You know, the last job I had before I left the medical field, in the 10 years I was there, I went through 3 FBI background checks, 2 rounds of fingerprinting, and God knows what else they just did randomly just because we had access in my position to patients' personal information, like banking information and social security information and all that stuff, you know, and now we've got these idiots that are, you know, running around just letting their families hang out with them while they do government business.
Oh, Shari, I don't think you have to worry anymore about whether you give out student secret. All that information's already been sold to China.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You can sleep at night now. It's already out there. I don't think they're coming after you.
I'm not worried about it anymore.
Has anybody heard about that this guy has actually tried to get clearance for his wife? Is his wife part of the government? Or?
Okay, here's what's going on here. His wife is his keeper. It's his codependency keeper, right?
Oh.
Trump is turning into a codependency keeper. You know, Vance is probably a codependency keeper. They're his codependents. You know, they're all helping him be an alcoholic and keep this job. So they want clearance for his wife. Yeah, sure, let's do that. But
God,
it's just so stupid.
Clearance. I want security clearance.
I do too. I want it too. So what were we originally asking if Hegseth was going to keep his job? He's going to keep it for a little while longer.
Yeah.
He's going to be there till I'm going to say like summer, so like June, end of June. Yeah. Yeah.
So they've got he's got to keep infused with alcohol, or
yeah, he does. He does. I bet he has a whole library of those books that have the pages cut out so you can stick stuff in between them and hide it. I bet he's got a million of those. He's got bottles stashed everywhere. That's why he can't have that big secure computer in his office. He doesn't have room for it among all the bottles. He just does not have space. Why can't people understand that? He has needs. But yeah, I think he's going to keep it for a while. I think he's going to keep it for a while. And I think the wife, I think she'll get the security clearance.
Wow. Wow. Oh my
I
gosh.
do.
By the way, thank you, Rose Blue. Another donation.
Oh,
And
thank you, Rose Blue. Sorry, I'm very bad looking at that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's
I
funny,
forget to do the same thing.
the first card that I got for him was Temperance. So I think they're going to do a big campaign here to make it look like he has stopped drinking. You watch. You watch.
oh God.
They're gonna go to great lengths to make it look like he's not drinking. I mean, for God's sake, the first big speech that he gave, he had a highball in his hand on the podium and he kept sipping it. Like it didn't even pretend that it was water. You could clearly see it was a highball glass. It was bourbon and water. Come on. I mean, it was in the glass and he was sipping it through the whole thing. So, I mean, he's just, I guess at Fox, it was just an open secret. Must have been because he was so comfortable in a public arena allowing people to see him drink something that wasn't water. So I
Well,
think
you
that
know,
would make a big
all
deal.
the millions and millions of recovery people in this country that have been through AA, have been through Alcoholics Anonymous, who have experienced this, are just looking around like, why are you enabling a person to keep his disease going? You know, what in the world are you thinking?
What's the first thing they teach family members of alcoholics or drug addicts? You have to stop enabling them.
Yes.
You know, that's the first thing you learn.
And Trump's brother was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And this is supposedly why he doesn't drink. I think he drinks now, but his brother's been dead for a very long time. That's Mary's father.
No, yeah,
father.
no thanks to him, I was going to
Yeah,
say.
yeah. So, you know, it's not ironic. It's shameful that he's engaging in this behavior. Just shameful. It doesn't do Pete any good. Pete's not thriving in this environment. The poor guy's got to be terrified every friggin' day that people are going to figure out that I don't know what I'm doing. No wonder he's probably drinking more because he has that job. So, I mean, not that I really feel sorry for him, but there is, if you dig down into his motivations, God, I mean, I would not want to be in his shoes. That's just terrible. So, did we come to a conclusion on that? That
I can do my cards.
Yeah, please do your cards.
Starting out, the Three of Swords. He's facing a lot of heartbreak.
I got that too. Mm-hmm.
Followed by the Ten of Cups reversed. That doesn't do him any good, now does it? Because that's just shattered dreams, you know. It's didn't they do a song like that? Then I got the Ace of Cups reversed. I'm telling you, I love these cards with political readings because I put them all in the same order and they'll just flip around all by themselves. I got September as a possible timeline of when this all comes to an end. I kind of like that thought. And then I got public life burnout. He's very close to being in this spot right now.
Do you see what Raymond DePastroli said? Peter Kegg's breath. Not all alcoholics are anonymous. Yeah, I mean, September.
I love it.
Wow, September. That means that I think Dumpy will be out or in Mar-a-Lago by September. And so that means that Heg's breath is a room at Mar-a-Lago and he's just drinking himself into a stupor.
Well, I'd rather him be there drinking himself into a stupor than at the White House doing it.
Thank you, Jazzy Sophie. You know, I hope his liver lasts.
Yeah. For sure.
All right. So what else do we got here? Okay. So Shine and Temu are going to cost a lot more because of the massive tariffs going into effect. Is it going to run them out of business, or will they somehow survive?
Can I just speak off the cuff? I think a
Yeah.
lot of it's going to depend on how well they're able to push their local warehouses of stuff that's already here. Because since November, with Temu, because I buy a lot of crap from Temu. It's cheap, and I get my bling. They really have started pushing the local warehouse. You get special discounts if you buy from the local warehouse. You get your stuff a lot faster if you get it from the local warehouse. And you don't have to pay shipping charges if you get it from the local warehouse. Whereas
Oh,
if
wow.
you're getting it from the mainland, then you have to spend $50-$60 before you qualify for no shipping charges. So you just have to be careful when you're ordering that you're not mixing up local and overseas. But I think that even eventually the local warehouse is going to run out of money and run out of stuff, and they're going to have to catch up with what's everybody else. Shine, I don't shop with Shine, so
It's similar to Temu.
it's very, I know. I mean, I've got a link for it. I think I even got an account with them. I don't know, but I just haven't found anything I like that I didn't already have from Temu. So and Temu is like, my fake jewelry, it's cheap, and my t-shirt, it's cheap. I mean, and I fully intend to haunt people when I die. I have a list. I wore this to the grocery store one day, and this little old lady was coming down the aisle, and she stopped. She went up and down on my shirt. She says, "I have one too."
I love it.
I went, good for you.
I love it. It was great. Cleo, what do you think?
I'm just trying to figure out what happened to the lights in here. I guess the light just went out. But I don't know anything about Temu. I'm not into any of that.
It's like Amazon, except you can get things for like 5 cents. I mean, it's really, really dirt cheap. And they always bundle stuff. So you order one thing and they go, we think you might like this. And if you buy all 3 of them, you can get them for $1.50.
That sounds like a great deal to me. I have.
You know how much jewelry I have bought from Temu? 90% of my jewelry box is now Temu.
Yeah.
And some of it's real.
Did it arrive the way you expected?
Yeah, it arrived.
Yeah, I bought stuff from Temu.
I'm wearing it. Sure. Rings, bracelets.
It's hard not to go a little crazy, because for $20 you can buy like a huge amount of stuff.
Really?
T-shirts.
So, yeah.
I don't pay more than $3-4 for a t-shirt. And I just bought a pair of jeans from them for the first time. And I was worried because of sizing, because you never quite know, how that's going to. They wound up being the perfect size. I think I paid like $6 for a really nice pair of jeans.
Rose Blue is saying it. Christmas shop now. I think I will.
Yeah.
And thanks for the tip about the local warehouse. I think I'll do that. But I think they're going to struggle. I think they're really, really going to struggle. I think that, once those warehouses run out, I think they're going to have a very hard time keeping their client base and being able to ship anything. So I think it's really going to be really touch and go for these guys. But if Dumpy does what he's done before, and he waits until all of his friends make a killing on the stock market and then dumps the tariffs, then maybe it'll happen. And also, China has said, sure, we'd be happy to sit down and talk to you, Mr. T, but you got to drop those tariffs first, and then we'll talk. So they're playing hardball, because China doesn't fuck around for less than 100 years worth of whatever they're going to get. They don't do it for the next year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. They're looking for a century. So they're pissed, because for centuries we've been, Europe and US, we've been good trading partners with China. But
Nixon went out of his way to make all of that happen. And
yes, he did. Good old tricky dick.
Yep.
Okay. So,
You're an hour and a half into this.
yep, I know. And I'm thinking we've pretty much come to the end of things. Is there anything anybody wants to say last but not least before we call it a day?
Well, I don't know. I just learned so much. I can't wait to go shopping. I got to get going. I got to go see what Timo has.
Tebow has some great stuff, and when you're a new customer, you get all kind of like your first order, you get all kinds of discounts and stuff.
Yeah, it's really pretty
Just
fun.
whenever you're ordering, make sure that you're sticking to either all overseas stuff or all local warehouse stuff, because if you start mixing matching, then you have to meet totals. Like you got to spend $6.92 more for the local warehouse, or you're short $4.37 if it's overseas. I mean, it can be really annoying, but you'd be amazed. I mean, I've gotten a couple of those spray bottles that you could put like olive oil in, that you could just spray it on your food, and you're not having to pour it out. And I've gotten
My whole
little
bed, my whole
egg
beater?
Eat eggs with a little thingy. It's like a plunger with a little doodad on the bottom, and I don't know what you call it. I just saw it and I thought I could use one of those.
My whole bedroom set came from Temu.
Yeah, my
Wow.
pillows, and I mean, I've gotten pillows and linens and
Trying to think what else.
cards.
Oh yeah,
I've got
I went
cards.
nuts for I wanted to do these stencils on my door. I went nuts for all sorts of stencils and stuff. I must have 50 of them in there, and they just cost a song, just nothing,
Well, these aren't press on, but a lot of times I'll buy the press on nails, and if
Uh-huh.
I want to do something fancy, and I can get like a thing of press on nails that if you go to the pharmacy to get them, you're paying anywhere from $9 to $15 for a box of nails. No, you can get it from them for like $1, $2.
Yeah, it's
You know,
crazy. It's crazy. It's like
super
going to
cheap.
Dollar Tree or something. All
Yeah.
right, guys, we have been on an hour and a half. So I want to thank everybody for tonight has just been amazing. You guys have been so generous. Thank you all for your donations and super chats. I'm
Absolutely.
kind of blown away. That's really, really nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm just going to reiterate again, I really hope you guys can give it a like. And if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It's free. And look at me. Don't you want to come see me again? Come on. You know you do. Okay. And make sure you subscribe for Cleo and for Shari, because they're real
Yes,
cute
please.
and they do nice things too on their channels. And Shari does a whole bunch of crazy things on her channel. You should really check it all out. And me and Cleo get together and we do a bunch of stuff too. So yeah, with all that said, thank you very much for playing my favorite game, which is PoliTarology. And we will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.